Okay, so in this video, we will bring the prices into the picture, all right? So up until this point, we were talking about pure exchange economy. There was no price. Now, everything that we learned, on top of that, there are prices. So these agents do not have to do what we call barter exchange. Oh, give me apples for bananas. Rather, they say, oh, here's the price of apple, here's the price of banana. Let's sort of interchange the apples and bananas through the price mechanism. All right? Well, who determines the price? Well, the market will determine the price. And so we will find the market prices in equilibrium. And so we call it Walrasian equilibrium. All right. There are two agents, the standard general equilibrium models, agent A and B. So which one is buyer, which one is seller? That depends on their preferences and endowments. There are two goods, X and Y, good 1, good 2, or I'm going to call good X and good Y. And they bring, each agent A and B bring some endowments of good X and good Y, and they have some preferences, utilities, UA, UB. So the question is, if these two guys get together, what is going to be the market clearing price? All right. So, and how do we calculate that? Well, given the initial endowments, all right, so let me draw it here. So given the initial endowments, we're going to draw the Edgeworth box. So it's going to be something like this. Agent A is sitting here. Agent B is sitting here. Well, this time, it's not just the indifference curve that matters. The agents have the constraints, the budget constraints, right? So what is the budget constraints? Budget constraint for these agents. Well, it's simple. Remember, we are trying to X, A, Y, A, so how many goods X and good Y agent A will consume, and X, B, Y, B, how many good X and good Y agent B consumes. So the agent A's budget constraint is going to be, well, the expenditure PX times XA plus PY times YA. So if she wants to consume this many apples and this many bananas, well, this is how much she has to pay. But this cannot be higher than her income. Well, how does she get the income? Well, let's assume that, remember, these guys bring initial endowment to the market. So they sell these endowments to the market maker, and then the market maker pays them cash, money, and with that money, they can now exchange repurchase the apples and bananas. All right, so think it that way. So here, the income that you can generate by your endowment is PX times WAX plus PY times WAY. So remember, you bring this many, agent A brings this many good X, and so you can sell each at that price, and you bring this many good Y, and you can sell them at a price PY. So therefore, this is your income. Here, your selling price and the buying price are the same. So this market maker is not charging any fee, all right? So there's no friction by assumption. Well, symmetrically, agent B's budget constraint is going to be PX times XB plus PY times YB. It has to be equal to PX times WBX plus PY times WBY. All right, so this is her income and this is her expenditure. And both agents are facing the same prices. So the agents, two different agents are not receiving two different prices. All right. Okay, so those are going to give us one constraint. What does it look like? I don't know. It's going to probably look something like this. So what does that mean? That means from this point on, this is so imagine this is the XY coordinates. All right, this is what the budget constraint will look like for agent A. And if you look from agent B's perspective, this is what sort of reversed, twisted budget constraint of agent B will look like. So what they want to do, they would like to maximize their utilities subject to the budget constraint that they have. So let's suppose agent B maximizes her, utility, and this is her optimal point. All right, so this is XB that she would like to consume, and this is YB. Oh, by the way, where is the initial endowment? Yeah, good point. Well, that's a very good question. So where is the endowment? Well, the endowment must be on this budget curve, all right? Because we use the endowments to create the budget curve. So therefore, the endowments does satisfy the budget curve, all right? So once again, this is the initial end. I mean, somewhere on this line, all right? Where exactly, I don't know, but let's suppose it's here. So let's suppose this is agent A's utility, and this is where she maximizes it. And let's suppose agent A maximizes his utility subject to his budget constraint here. This is how much XA he would like to consume, and this is how much YA he would like to consume. All right? So, by the way, when we drove this, what is the slope? This is minus px over py. What is px and py? Well, we don't know. So if you change the price ratio, this curve will gonna shift, not shift, but all the budget curves are going to pivot around the initial endowment. If you change the budget curve, the price ratio, the budget curve may get steeper, or it may get more and more horizontal. So it depends on the price ratio of these goods. Well, who determines the price ratio? Well, it's going to be determined by the invisible hand in this market. So here I'm trying to make an argument that this price ratio in this very specific example cannot form an equilibrium. But let me draw another graph. Exactly the same initial endowments. All right. And so here's agent A, here's agent B, and then this is where the initial endowment is located. So let's make it a bit of more horizontal. And so consider this. All right, so this is XA, YA, and then consider this. This is the agent B's utility, and this is XB. This is YB. All right, so this is the indifference curve of agent A. So I have two scenarios. I'm going to argue that this is an equilibrium price ratio, right? PX, PY minus, but this is not. I mean, those prices are different. Let's call them PX prime, PY prime, because the slope is different and hence the price ratio is different. Well, why this is, or this can't be equilibrium? Well, the logic is simple. Why? Well, look, this is how many good X agent A want to consume. This is how many good X agent B would like to consume. Well, if you add them up, you see you're going to get more than the length or the size of this portion. All right? Meaning the XA plus XB in this very specific example is greater than WAX plus WBX. Meaning demand is more than supply. All right? On the other hand, if you look at the Y's, this is how much Y agent B would like to buy, and this is how much Y agent A would like to buy. So basically, this plus this. As you see, there is a gap. This is because YA plus YB is less than WAY plus WBY. I mean, in this case, if this is the price ratio, the price of good X is way too high, and the price of relative to price of good Y, which means the price of good Y is way too low, such that, the price of good Y is way too high, and the price of good X is way too low, relatively obviously, in such a way that there's an excess demand for good X, and good Y, there's an excess supply. So the markets will not clear. We assume that the agents are going to make a trade in such a way that market will clear. What does that mean? That means, you're demanding 5 apples, I'm demanding 5 apples, 10 apples, but what we have is only 2 apples. So clearly this is not feasible. So we have to, in some way, the invisible hand is going to play with the prices. How? It's going to increase the price of good X or decrease the price of good Y. So the demand for good Y increases, and because good X is now more expensive, the demand for good X decreases, so that we balance out these equations, the feasibility equations. So eventually this market maker, this invisible hand, hopefully will come up to a level of prices in such a way that these the demand XA plus XB, the optimal demand for agent A, and obviously they're not going to choose some suboptimal demand, all right? I would like to, yes, I am willing to buy X, but I am trying to maximize my utility given my budget constraints. So you can't force me for some suboptimal X or Y. So, but what you can do as a market maker, you can shift the price ratio, and that will balance out the agent's incentives. And so the market will clear. So here, the total demand is going to be equal to the total supply, all right, for good X. And similarly, total demand for good Y is going to be equal to total supply for good Y, all right? And so the equilibrium should look like this, where both agent A and agent B maximize given their budget constraints, given the prices, all right? And the optimal demands, the aggregate demands, are equal to optimal aggregate, the aggregate supply, so the market clears. Hence, I will solve a numerical example in the next video, but let me just conclude this video with saying a Walrasian equilibrium, is such that it's an allocation where both agents maximize utility subject to budget constraint and PX-PY ratio, and then 2, market clears under PX-PY. So all we have to do is to find this price ratio where both agents maximize their utility subject to budget constraint and the market clears. All right, so let's solve an example.